Jarrett, do you mind just telling us a little bit about who you are, your relationship with Velo Cafe, and then would love to hear more about your coffee journey.
Sure. So my name is Jarrett Conway. My family is a 3-generation owner and operator of District Hardware and Bike. My grandfather started in the late 1960s in the DuPont Circle area, and we're now in our new store down at the Wharf. We opened up about a year ago to a much more expanded platform, and part of that expansion was to bridge more of the community, and we did that by bringing in the Velo Cafe, which is our bicycle-themed cafe, and we partnered with Vigilante Coffee to sort of make sure that our operations were tip-top, but it's also sort of an integral part of our business model down here at the Wharf.
And your journey with coffee, how'd you get into coffee?
I think most people start drinking coffee in college, and it becomes sort of a necessity. And for me, I was never a big coffee drinker when I was younger, and it wasn't until I started really getting back into cycling as an adult and joining group rides and going out to coffee shops that coffee culture really started to sort of intrigue me. And what really sort of got my interest in it was during my honeymoon, my wife and I went down to Australia. And Australia's got this crazy coffee culture, and my wife we were jet lagged, and my wife just wanted a gigantic cup of coffee, like a drip coffee. And we'd go into any cafe there, they're like, what are you talking about? You crazy American people. And it was really interesting to see that different countries, different societies, different cultures look at coffee in a very drastically different way than we do. So that really just sort of started me on my journey of different types of coffee, single origin, the techniques for espresso, drip coffee, the difference between first, second, third wave coffee. And it just sort of parlayed into this desire to, open up a cafe into one of our businesses.
Yeah. Velo Cafe is a family, or
it is.
District Hardware is a family business.
It is a family business. It always has been. We look at our staff as family. Mm-hmm. Before we started recording, we were talking a little about how David, who's our bike manager, my dad's best man at his wedding. He's been with him, and my dad used to ride motorcycles cross country when they were much younger. He's been with us for decades, and we've had a lot of employees that have been with us for many, 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 many years. And so we have a pretty high level of retention. I think part of that is because this is a family institution. That empathy that you get as being part of a family business, I think that's unique. Yeah. And I think that's what I like to think this from an anecdotal experience is what ingrains our employees to us, because it's not just an employee-employee relationship.
But you've mentioned kind of woven throughout the story as you keep coming back to community and being a place for the community. Why is Velo Cafe so interested in being a community center for people?
I think if you are going to operate, especially in this day and age, it is important to provide an experience that is meaningful to people, because there's a lot of options out there. We learn from our customer base, and it's something that it allows us to almost focus group what it means to be a part of the community. We have a good number of boats behind us that are liveaboards, and so there's a whole community here at the Wharf. Before the Wharf even was in existence, as it is today, they have specific needs, right? So they were ordering stuff from West Marine, they were going to various hardware stores, and now we can have that discussion with the community over a cup of coffee and say, hey, let's sit down and let's map this out, right? Like, what are your needs as a customer, as a part of this community that may be unique to living on a boat? So, for example, like, we do a lot of stuff that other hardware stores might not have. We do a lot of stainless steel. We do a lot of, we have like a whole thing of damp rid because you're sitting on the water, right? Like, these are very niche needs that, sure, you can get on Amazon. Sure, you can find at some other online retailer, but we're trying to tailor that to a one-stop shop for the people in our community.
Somebody visiting town,
mm-hmm.
or if you've been in DC for a while, what are the places that you would tell them to go for just like a good dinner, or a good drink, or? So
you sent me that question. And
you just have a list of.
I do. I have a list, and it like depends on the person. And
all right. So for me, where are you telling me to go?
I thought about this. If I was going to go to, want to get everything knocked out at once, Union Market, right? Like,
okay.
They got a little bit of everything. Not every city's got a food hall. It's in a pretty eclectic place. You sort of hit everything. It's good for kids, right? Like we bring my kids there all the time. They just run around outside and play ping pong now, apparently. And but you can hit everything, right? You can have a beer, you can walk around, you get your coffee. I think Peregrine does a great job with their coffee program. So I mean, that's you can get a good bagel there. But if it's someone that wants me a bit more unique, Chico over in Capitol Hill is where I'm going to
Wait, sorry, what's this? Chico?
Chico. So they're over on Barracks Row. Danny Lee, who owns Mondu. He started that with 2 other partners, and they just have this Chinese Korean infusion, and they have just some amazing, amazing food. They make a fried rice with brisket. It's just incredible.
Jarrett, thanks for
My
talking
pleasure.
with us, and we're happy to share your story at Velo Cafes and just
Thank you.
your story.
And appreciate you guys coming in. This was fun.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Sorry for
Thank
chatting
you.
yours off.
Oh, it's, I don't know. It's
I
all
told
right.
you I talk.